Hello and welcome everybody. I know it has been a long time since you've seen a video of one of these where I've done a shoe review. I'm really excited to get it going again, and now that the Nike Maxfly 2 and the SP4 are out and available for sale, I thought it best to do a review on which shoe to get, because I still get questions, still get comments, still get reviews on my last video, which was a while ago, where I compared the Maxfly 2 when it didn't really have a competitor, and even before that it was the Nike Maxfly versus the Adidas SP2. So quick little bit of context: I never got the Adidas SP3, like I never purchased it, I should say, because the SP2 gave me some plantaris issues, and the SP3 was even more aggressive than what the SP2 was. So I was like, well, there's no point in me getting one of those because I just know that it's not going to be right for my shoe. But anyway, the SP4 has come out. It's evolved again. I think everything that needed to be better for the SP3, they've then gone and done with the SP4. But anyway, so here we are. We're with the Maxfly 2, Nike Maxfly 2 today, and the Adidas SP4. And you probably would have seen already, look how this shoe sits. It's got a rocker plate on it now. It sits in the middle. It's perfectly balanced, which is really interesting. So I think what I'll do is I'll talk about the Nike Maxfly 2. If you want to see an in-depth review of that, you've got to watch the other video. But the main things with the Nike Maxfly 2, what needed to be improved, was the plate was cambered a little bit, so it's better for the bends. It's a little bit wider, which it was better for the bends. They upgraded the laces and the upper where it's a little bit thicker in spots that it needed to be, because this shoe is still a tongue based shoe where it's separate from where the laces join. And all in all, I actually really like this spike. This is the one I've run my PBs in. This is the one where I've run really quick. I'm really happy with the shoe. It's just like a nice stock standard. Like if you've got a neutral foot, you like some nice bounce at the top end, that is probably this is the shoe to get. It's pretty tried and tested. Lots of people wear them. Pretty good for hurdles. And I like the new colorways that it's come out with. It's got a nice bright red color. It's got a nice white color. All in all, it's a pretty good shoe. So if you're a bit unsure, a bit uncertain, that's probably the shoe to get. It's the best of the super shoes. It's $280 or $275 now, which is comparable to what this price is. So if you're a bit hesitant, a bit unsure, if you don't really want an aggressive shoe, this is the one to get. Anyway, behold the mighty SP4, and you can probably hear from the excitement in my voice that I actually really like this shoe. I used it today and I'm impressed. So like I said, everything that I didn't like about the SP2 and the SP3 when I tried it on a couple times has been fixed for me and has improved. And the advantages of this shoe is, as I said, where it puts you, it gets you to pronate, which is this, once you land on the ground, you get this pronation where the foot drops in, it unlocks the big toe, gets you over there, and creates a nice glute connection, which is really important for acceleration. These shoes are acceleration shoes. The Nike Maxfly is a top-end speed shoe, for sure. It was funny today, even when I took off, I felt like this shoe had me in such a good acceleration position where I couldn't even toe drag. I couldn't excessively plantar flex, because where I was taking off from, I was dorsiflexing straight away, which is really cool. And as you can see, so it's got this rocker where it gets you onto your forefoot so easily. And where this has advanced from what I didn't like about the SP3 and the SP2 is that it's so much more neutral now. So when you see the shoe come up, SP2 and SP3s, the plate was a bit angled where you'd end up like this. You'd end up with your foot quite externally rotated. But now, when you come up onto your foot, when you come up onto your toe, you just come straight up. So it's much more neutral, which is really good. So much more comparable to the Nike Maxfly. You'll see in a video, I'll put it in. I actually had both shoes on today and I kind of compared them. This feels a bit wider, a bit more supportive, and like you could, because it's got the bubble and the foam, it feels like you could get a bit unstable into like too much pronation, but this is a really rock solid shoe. This shoe get you straight up onto your toe. You have no choice but to go boom here straight away, which I'll put that video in next, or even while I'm talking potentially. So this is really good. Now what's different and what's better about the the Adidas SP4 is that it's not a tongue separated shoe. It's got a little sock inside the shoe. So once your foot has gone straight into it, it's secured straight away, so like it connects to the inside of the shoe, whereas this one is just separate. You can just pull it all the way out. So I feel like you can easily get the lace too tight around your shoe or not have it quite sit right. Whereas this thing, because it's like a sock, once you pull it in, it's in there and it's locked in. And it feels like you can secure the laces a bit better. And that's why it doesn't have that rib lacing that the Nike Maxfly does. A couple of things, the upper is very different. So this is much more like of a cloth feeling, whereas this is way more, you can hear it, this is synthetic, whereas this is just like a cloth material. So I don't know, it's what you prefer really. Like I don't run with socks, so like it doesn't really make too much of a difference for me. Like I don't feel like it does anyway. Like maybe on a really hot day this might get a bit more irritating, or like because it's got more air holes your foot might get a bit cold, but like for me I don't really care too much about that, but that is a difference. The spike plate is improved for this one as well because it's got all the grip all the way up to here. So you can be in the blocks and you won't slide down. That was the knock on the Adidas SP2 and the SP3 a little bit, is that yes, you'd be really aggressive up onto your forefoot, but then you'd be in the blocks and your foot would slide down from your position. So it feels like they fixed this where the plate has these notches on it, like little plastic nodules I'd say, where your shoe's actually going to stay in the block and not drop down, which is really good, a really great improvement. Something that Nike's done really well, where they've got it literally the whole way up. So no matter where you have your foot, you're going to be set with that. So Adidas have improved the neutral toe while still maintaining that natural pronation that they always have. They fixed the plate, which is really cool. And I actually really just like the design of this shoe. And as I said, the balance is really interesting. Like the middle of the shoe, like it gets you hold the middle of the shoe and it just boom, it just wants to go straight onto your toe, which is really cool. It's got a nice soft inner, which both of these shoes have now. So it seems like the days of blisters really impacting you have probably gone down a little bit. And as I said, that's the difference. Like there's more foam here. There's less heel drop than what there was with the SP3. The SP3 was like here to here. So this is definitely like a little bit more neutral. But because of the shape of the rocket plate, I feel like that's where it makes up for it and gets you that feeling of getting on your toe without being excessively rotated. So I feel like it'll be a little bit better on the bend. That was the common sort of knock on the SP3, is that it felt like you were running in like two different shoes that you had on your foot, where this feels much more like it's one shoe. So what needed to be better? So like obviously Adidas and Nike have listened to the feedback that the athletes have been giving them and all that people have been giving them, and their R&D, their research and development has been really good. So I feel like the original Nike Maxfly was way over here with how bouncy and how soft it was and how unstable it felt. And then the Adidas SP2 and SP3 were really over here with how much it forced you to pronate, how much it forced you up onto your toe, how much you were externally rotated when you were landing. And now they've come to these two shoes where they are more center. This still has the characteristics of the bounce and it feeling a little bit more unstable. Like, you know, if you were hurdling and you pop down and you're like slightly off center, the bubble might send you that way, or like if you have a little bit of a misstep, but it still has those characteristics, but it's much more conservative and it's much more refined now, which is really good. And then it's the same for this shoe as well, where it still forces you to pronate. Like that feeling is so strong, whereas this is much more neutral, and it still gets you right up onto your toe, and it's still a very aggressive acceleration based shoe, whereas this is a top end shoe, but it's way much more towards the middle than what than what the SP2 and the SP3 were. So this is actually really exciting. Like, have I decided on a shoe? No, I'll probably still train and race in both of these. The great thing compared to say the Pumas is that you can take the spikes out. So even when I do my grass racing in the VAL, like I'll be really excited to use both pairs of shoes and sort of see. But all in all, I think what's really cool is that like I feel like confident in wearing both of these shoes. SP4 have improved, or Adidas have improved with their SP4. Nike have improved their Maxfly 2. Have these guys been left behind a little bit? Potentially. It doesn't seem like they've quite improved their development with their pairs of shoes. I mean, it even goes as simple as to say they're only on their second version and they're on their fourth version. You know, there's two sides of that where, like, you know, they feel like they've got it right in two shoes, where these guys have taken more time. But I feel like the research that has gone into the Adidas has propelled and developed each time, which is really cool. So, you know, I guess you're probably sitting here wondering at the end of the video what spikes to get. If you want that acceleration based shoe, if you want that nice aggressive plate, go the Adidas. If you want more of a conservative shoe, maybe you're doing 400s, maybe you're doing hurdles, you know, maybe you don't want to be quite as aggressive if your calves and legs aren't quite as strong. The Nike Maxfly 2 is probably the shoe for you. In terms of sizing, this is a 9.5 and this fits me snug. You know, I'll wear anywhere between a 9.5 and a size 10 shoe. The 9.5 is probably the perfect fit for mine. I have a fairly neutral foot, you know, not like massively wide, not very narrow, with a bit of a high arch. This fits me nearly perfectly, perfect around the midfoot, and the heel maybe just still slightly long in the toe box for me. So for these being the same size shoes, maybe the Adidas feels a tiny bit longer. So consider that when you're purchasing the shoe. If you have a really, really wide foot, the Nike Maxfly is probably that little bit better. Whereas the Adidas is maybe for that more slightly narrower foot. So yeah, they're probably the main considerations. Sizing is fairly true to size, with the Adidas SP2 having a slightly longer, SP4 having a slightly longer toe box. They're super aggressive. You need to be strong with these shoes. My feet and my arches and my calves felt like they'd trained and felt like they'd been worked pretty well, whereas, you know, like these feel like a more stable, more comfortable shoe. So yeah, there's the comparison, there's the review. Let me know if you have any more questions. I'll put some videos of me running in both of these shoes before and after, and the video, as I said, with both of theirs being there. So thank you very much for watching. I'm excited to get a little bit more going and to continue these reviews going. So stay tuned for more videos, and talk to you next time.